So we have started our journey, Joy of Conscious Living. In the last uh, session, I just gave an introduction that there are only 5 verses, means 5 couplets in Sanskrit language, written by one of the great masters, Shankaracharya. And I named that book with my understanding. It is a joy of conscious living, which I gave a little talk to. And so in the lesson 2, we will find out what are the basic principles for meditation. Before I go and pick up a verse, there are 5 verses. And every verse contains 8 simple and easy principles to follow that we can incorporate in our daily life, and the life changes. So in the last session, question comes, how do I remember 40 principles? 5 verses. Every verse has 8 principles. 40 principle, that question comes to the mind. How do you remember? You're driving, you have to put your hands on the steering, not on the pedal. One principle. Your right foot goes directly to either the pedal or the brake. You become aware of whether the tires contains the right pressure or not. You see, lot of principles you remember by default while driving the car. So first thing, that you become a seeker, you continue to follow the principles and the practice, then what happens? Oh, it's by default, you remember the principles. You remember, you know the principles. Did you get it? That is why, these, I will tell you later that how these 5 verses were written by this great master. There is a real story, and once you understand how these enlightened masters write, send a message, and they continue the journey. So in the first lesson, we have understood the 5 verses. What is those 5 verses? How to start with your personal life, professional life, social life, what principles to be incorporated so that the mind continues to live in the state of meditation. Continues to live in the state of meditation. So how to start and from where to start? So I'm just giving you the basic fundamental principles. It becomes very easy for you to understand. We have heard and read about different schools of yoga, the Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. We have studied about Bhakti Yoga, the path of yoga for emotional integration, or sometimes in our country we say yoga of love. Not yoga of marriage or dating. Don't take your mind there. Yoga of love that manifests wrong with it. Then we have heard about Hatha Yoga. We have also Kundalini Yoga, the Raj Yoga, the Karma Yoga. So, can I draw the basic principles by which the mind follows these different schools of yoga? That needs to be understood before we go to those verses. We always talk of there is a feminine power which is known as Kundalini. So that is known as the consciousness force. Real self is pure consciousness. So there is a force of the consciousness which is known as a consciousness force. That remains invisible in our daily life. But that consciousness force expresses itself through the mind in three definite powers: the power of knowledge, power of desire, and the power of action. Three powers. It is the mind. So there are different permutation and combinations of these three powers that has created different schools of yoga. Power of knowledge is dominant, and you have a power of aspiration or desire and the power of action working behind the power of knowledge. It becomes the school of yoga that is known as Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. When the contemplative mind, that attribute of the contemplative mind, dominates over the power of action and the power of knowledge, it becomes Raj Yoga, the path of meditation and mindfulness. Another attribute, that is emotion. So we remove the negative emotion that lives on the surface inside the heart, but deeper within there is a love, which is an attribute of the pure consciousness. So if that becomes dominant in the mind, so we have different steps, it becomes Bhakti Yoga. After all, it is the same mind that follows the different schools of yoga. Hatha Yoga are the offshoot, they are secondary level. So I'm not talking of Hatha Yoga, which is very famous in our country. We have different styles of yoga. So mainly there are four yoga, that is Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga, what is the motive of my action deeper inside? So I clear my mind first, I clear my motive, and then I perform an action. So the karma dominates outside, but inside we have a clarity of our intent. That is another power of desire, and with the power of knowledge. So Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, meditation. Karma Yoga, how to live our life personally, professionally, socially, with actions that we perform. And Karma Yoga makes your all the actions as a play and a fun. Even you become angry in the mood of being a play and fun to get the things done. You don't invite any likes and dislikes, and you don't invite any problem in the mind. In these 40 principles, we will discover there are some of the principle pertains to Karma Yoga, other pertains to any one of these three. More yoga, that is Raj Yoga, that leads to meditation, Bhakti Yoga, that purifies the emotion, and Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. And we understand, our master says, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. The knowledge is the power by which we liberate ourselves from the suffering, the greatest message. So that is why I gave a brief talk on the principles, because that gives us a knowledge. First point. Second point, the basic principle. Why we act? Why we perform an action? Because there is a motive behind every action. Take one example. You are upset with your honey. How come? Where you are upset with your honey? In your mind. The mind has a thought. Thought will prompt you to action. But why you prompt your mind for an action when the mind is upset? Why not clear your mind first? Let your honey be 100% wrong, Sergey. Who cares? Let me care this mind. See, that is the message. Same thing with the Stephen David, your employee. Why you get upset with an employee? Where experience of upset takes place in the mind. So let me clear my mind with the knowledge, with the practice first, clear the intent, and then let me act. Are you understanding? How simple, but it is not so simple. We are carried away by the mind. How dare you say this? You are wrong. Before saying you are wrong, I change my expression, even if the person is wrong. So unless the inside the mind is clear. So our master says that our motive for action can be classified into 4 categories. That is the basic principle we are going to talk about today, followed by we will do the practice. So understand, now you understand every karma, every action has a motive. Motive is a particular thought or a feeling or a desire to be fulfilled. Isn't it? That is how we perform our action. Any action. So that can be classified into 4 categories. The lowest categories in which the mind is totally selfish. In a sense, it is self-centered. I'm eating pasta because I like it for myself. You don't enjoy. I enjoy eating pasta because I like it. So selfish in a positive sense. Understand that pleasure seeking. My mind is totally centered around pleasure seeking with the objects outside. Whether it is pasta, whether it is sex, whether it is buying a shirt for myself, whether it is buying a car for myself. It is purely for me. I enjoy it. And that is happening by default. It comes from the animal mind. And if I don't get the pasta, I get angry. For example, I'm not going deeper. So just you can use the same example. So whenever the anger or hesitation is there is one reason. Because at the very personal level, I'm not able to fulfill my desire. Because I acted on it, but it didn't happen. So what needs to be done? I have to bring those motives that prompts me to action at the conscious level and apply your wisdom. Is it required? Enjoy that. No master says that leave everything. No, enjoy everything. But check it. It must pass through a conscious mind. Because even if you don't get the pleasure, conscious mind will say, okay, pleasure is not there, it is within me. First classification. Second classification, so when we evolve, the mind evolves. The evolution of mind is different in different people based on the past impression or based on, that is how you pick up a particular profession. So that is what we say the satisfaction. I put my mind into some creative pursuit, scientist, researchers. Can you think of those scientists and researchers who are burning day and night oil to discover the corona virus vaccine? Their mind is totally focused. So now the motive is satisfaction, not only for myself, but for a larger cause. Same thing happens, you build up a big company and organization where you use the different expertise of the mind. That is also pertaining to the society, your professional competence, your personal development. Understand one thing, growth is horizontal. You will be able to understand clearly. Growth is horizontal. Take an example of a teacher. So a person started the profession of a teacher 20 years ago and he remains the teacher at the same level. Growth. Yeah, he get pension, he get, some social security benefits, he continues, but he continues at the growth level. That is how we understand in the Eastern wisdom. And what about the development? Now the guy has worked 5 years as a teacher and he says, can I open my own private school to give a teaching? It's a vertical jump. It's an evolution in the mind. Oh, let me open a school. The way Lara did it. Open the studio. Did you understand the development? Now, growth, development, and what about the third level? Evolution. Now you say, no, let me create a chain of these schools which I have opened. That is, I'm talking about outside. But what is happening inside is tremendous. So now I live at a much higher level. I'm independent of one school. I'm independent of doing 9 to 5 job as a teacher. See that? That is what happens deeper inside our mind. Now those motives which are self-centered, which gives me satisfaction, it takes the third level of evolution. Even you don't have the means and still you are happy. Because that evolved mind discovers the happiness is already within me. I can do work and I can earn. Maybe I'm not earning today, but I will have an earning. Evolution of the mind. Once we reach to that level of evolution, then only you become a seeker. Now you are looking at the fourth level. You are a seeker. You have a conviction. What is that conviction? You have a conviction that the happiness, the love, and the wisdom lies within me in performing all the activities outside. So how the mind will be prompted to act outside? Can you imagine? At the fourth level when you are a seeker? Can just imagine? You still need to eat the same pasta. But now the mind is not self-centered to seek pleasure from outside. So now your mind is very clear, even eating the pasta. Take the same example. Now you are going for a job. Outside, you are performing the job as per the duties and the responsibilities given to you. But deeper inside you, what is your motivation? What is your motivation? This is the work at my hand. Let me complete this work as excellently as possible. So your motivation is focused on only the work in hand. How to discharge my duty and responsibilities in my personal, professional, and social life without any selfish motivation. But you get a reward. There's no doubt. You get a reward. And I'll sum up my life for about in India for 26 years that the destiny or the past impression changed completely, and that thrown me into United States. So once you live into that state, then you are ready to go for these 40 principles. I learned from my master when I was hardly 20. He said, what is the work in your hand? To give Hatha Yoga classes. He said, if you focus on how to teach those Hatha Yoga classes as better as possible, as clear as possible. So I started learning Hatha Yoga, the basic principles. I started studying those. There are about 16 and 15 texts. I learned that Hatha Yoga is basically an offshoot of Tantra Yoga. Fundamentally, I understood the clarity and the meaning. And then my director said that, can you start running the meditation classes? Long back when I was hardly 24, 25. I started giving the classes. Then I asked the director that, can we have a mini conference, a national conference? Long back in 91 and 92 and 93. The bureaucrat in the Ministry of Health asked me that, can you go to Mongolia to teach the doctors there in alternative and complementary medicine? I did it. I got another project of World Health Organization to take care of the substance abuse. You see the process. I never knew. When I look back into my life, I said it is all the grace and the gratitude. I'm totally grateful to my master. He said, no, focus there. No, but I have a motive that I will get so much of money taking up a project of World Health Organization. And he was furious. He said, why you are asking for that money? Pay attention there. And I successfully conducted a pilot project in how the meditation and other yoga practices can help in rehabilitation of young drug addicts in India. Like this, I got 10 different projects. And I put that into my resume, and I got an extraordinary visa to be here with my family. Just as simple. Now use that as an example, not bragging, no pride. Use that as an example from today. What you do. Are you prompted by the motive which is purely selfish in nature? You will not have a smile on your face, I can guarantee you. You cannot smile. You have a satisfaction, you will get a little smile. Now, the work. You have a right knowledge. You have a right desire. Let me finish this work as perfect as possible. Whether it comes to building your relationship, talking to your honey, giving your class, or managing your employees, Stephen, in your company. So once we understand these basic principles, then I will take up the first verse with 8 principles next week, and you will see that how it helps you to live a life What is that life? A joy of conscious living. Are you getting it? Did you get something? Three powers, summarizing it, three powers of the mind. The power of knowledge. When I don't have a right knowledge, then there cannot be a right desire. When there is no right desire, then the mind picks up some of the threads from the subconscious mind, unconscious mind, the past experiences, and that prompts me to act. Karma fails in my life. Are you getting it? Don't you realize sometime when you were angry over a person and you go back home and you say, I should not have said this? Tell me frankly. What is the fun? Why should I be angry? But you have already done it. You have lost an opportunity. You have done it. You enter into a conflict. And that conflict keeps haunting your mind again and again and again. Now, play anger to get the things done, Stephen, in your organization or whatever. Now you are conscious. You are not doing your work. You have to do your work. This is the way. So you shout, but you are not angry. You play a role. Why? Motive is clear. Do you see that? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. We do it with our kids. We have done it many times. So three powers can take you to a much higher level and will integrate Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raj Yoga, that is meditative step. So we will understand in the next week's session the first verse. Close your eyes. Let us start our journey of mindfulness and meditation. Stage 1, we prepare. You'll be surprised. One is very advanced meditator coming from LA. I gave only the stage 1 for 1 hour of meditation practice. I invoked a couple of the principles and he said, this is what I have been seeking. Eyes are closed and the mind is looking inside. So in the stage 1, the first step is the position of the body. Just align the position of the body the way you want to do it. You want to do it while sitting, do it. You want to do sitting one chair? Yes. Want to lie down? Everything is okay. Until your mind springs that wisdom in you that I should be doing while sitting. Until then, no condition. So mind is looking inside, facing inside. You see that ignorant mind prompts you to think, what should I look inside? Whatever is there, the space, blankness, emptiness, finished. Why to worry? But the more your mind is absorbed looking within and facing within, the body will move into the state of steadiness. This is what the Patanjali says in defining the asanas. Sthir, sukham, asanam. Sukham, happiness in the mind, steadiness in the body. That is the meaning and definition of the asanas. You need not to do a headstand pose to succeed in meditation. See that. Any posture will do. So that is the stage 1 and the step 1. We will settle our mind little deeper by being comfortable. You look at the neck joint. Who looks? The mind. Are we not using the 3 powers of the mind? You see that? You will understand. All yoga takes place with these 3 powers of mind, with a different permutation and combination. Instantly become aware which part of the mind you are using and see that. Move the mind on the neck joint. It is the power of action, but that is confined to the mind. You are not moving any part of the body. So what happens? The mind becomes subtle. And in that subtle level of the mind, you experience sensation, being comfortable, and steadiness. You make your mind subtle, the impurities in the mind will drop. So we are doing a lot of stuff deeper inside. Move the mind on the shoulder joints. The mind moves on the shoulder joints. You feel the sensation. Being comfortable and steadiness. You're not dragging the body into action. You are putting the power of awareness and the knowledge on the joints of the body to experience. See that. Yes, a little discomfort you can adjust and line. But it does not mean that you are aligning and adjusting the body throughout the practice. You see, that is the part of ignorance, lack of awareness. Move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes, to all the joints, one after the other. You experience sensation, being comfortable, and what? And steadiness. In the stage 1, the third step is being carefree. I have been explaining. Being carefree means what? First, the knowledge. Carefree means what? Free from the cares. But who is care? Who is taking care of me? The mind. How? By unwanted thoughts, feelings, sensations. Just check your mind. Are you meditating? Yes. And the mind will say, yes, I'm meditating, but I have to fix this. I have my another agenda after the practice. I will rush. Unwanted thought. That is how the mind cares. Why the mind cares in such a crazy way? Because we have never taken care of the mind. So you have understood. So what is the meaning of being carefree? Pay attention. It is very hard principle that I will introduce later, but I'm introducing as being carefree. I know you. Take an example of a David. I know David. It doesn't mean that I'm David. I'm aware of David. It doesn't mean that I am David. Well, where I'm taking your mind. I'm aware of the thought, but I'm not the thought. I'm separate from it. That is being carefree. So what is the practice? It is a knowledge practice. Any thought comes, I'm aware of it. I'm not. I'm different from it. I'm separate from it. That awareness makes you totally carefree from that crazy mind. Now, mind says, yesterday, I had a fight with my honey. I'm aware of this is a thought, this is not me. Done. Finished. The mind says, I like past. I'm aware of this thought. I'm different from it. Finished. You become carefree. My friends, so I introduce a very subtle principle here. And the third one is being the next step in the stage 1. The fourth step is being casual. Being casual. Being casual means being natural. Being natural means the essential nature. And I can give you an example of essential nature. The sweetness of a sugar is essential nature of its sugar. And what is non-essential nature? Well, you may find the sugar in the form of a totally thin powder, cubes, maybe like a stone. All are sugar. What is my essential nature? Is the existence. The existence is always natural. Whether a million people are born or 2 million people die. Whether you have a storm in the ocean or you have a pleasant waves. Existence remains natural. Introducing the fourth step. And now we'll move into the second stage of this practice. We purify the mind. We need to purify the mind until the mind only thinks when I ask him to think. One way to understand. And we have been doing it. We will follow the same step, but today we'll follow the 2 steps in the stage 2. So look deep inside where? Inside the heart. Are you aware of the space? Yes. Start breathing short and the quick breath. Playful breath. You are playing with the breath. Keep looking deep inside the heart. Continue. Quick and short breath, but playful breath. You are doing an action. Remember. And stop it. We need to intensify in today's session. And what is that intensification? It doesn't mean that instead of 2 minutes at one go, you do it for 5 minutes. No. We can break up that in parts. Just experience the state, looking inside the heart, in the head, and the whole body. You may feel some sensation. Remain as, recognize the sensation, accept them, and continue the journey. So let me put another word to it. You maintain the sensation, comfortable, steadiness, carefree, casual. In that state, you look inside the heart again and start breathing short and quick breath. Let us intensify it today. But be playful. Don't do it with undue strain and the anxiety in your mind. And stop this. You might have observed either some reaction from the mind with a sudden upsurge of new experiences, or a response by the mind. The mind says, no, I want to do it little more. The mind becomes clear. What is the point of doing intensive? To know if I have become a seeker. And we will jump into the next step by passing the deep silent slow breathing. We'll be doing the humming. Because the mind is clear, the humming will become better. Just check it. How we do it? Take a deep, silent, slow breathing. First into the belly, expands like a balloon. Then, without break, it goes into the ribs. And keep your focus deep inside the forehead while breathing out. Start the humming sound. We'll be doing only 10 times, so I'm giving you 3.5 minutes for 10 breaths from now. So count mentally so that we can understand in 3.5 minutes how many breaths we have taken. If we have taken 10 breaths, it's a peak level. Well, we have done in 15, no issue. Even that is much better. We have done 20, it's good. But don't force yourself. Start. You're doing the humming sound in the state of steadiness and comfortable when the mind is clear and the mind starts responding to the step. Just check it. The knowledge part, first power, the desire part, second, third, action part. Three powers of the mind are equally engaged here. Continue. And stop this humming in the stage 2. Now we will move to the stage 3 of the practice, which is totally passive. We see how the mind responded with these two steps in the stage 2. So what we do? Look at the head and the neck. Who is looking? The mind. Now the mind is looking with the purity, with a heightened level of awareness, and we have a natural experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So we are not in a hurry. Who is in a hurry? So if you are in a hurry, you are not carefree. Move the mind on the right arm, as if the mind is touching the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips, as if the mind remains there, feeling the presence. And we experience sensation, relaxation, stillness. So if you find a mind that follows another route, instead of moving the mind, instead the mind moves on the left arm, what that means? Impurity. So it means we need to continue the second stage with more intensity. That we'll be doing. Move the mind on the left arm. You feel a tremendous presence of the mind on the left arm, and that gives you an experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness there. The mind goes to the rib cage in the front, the belly in the front, and the spine in the back, the entire middle portion. In the state of carefree, comfortable steadiness, and you have a deepening of experience, sensation, relaxation, stillness. You have a variety of experience where the body moves into a tingling state, freezing of the body. It appears that the body has become very big, very small. It is flying, or a sense of what we say, a levitate. Let it happen. Recognize and accept and continue the journey. Move the mind on the right leg. Experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the left leg. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The mind on the entire body. You know why I remind you when I give the instruction, mind on the entire body. Mind contains these three powers. Delicate, smooth use of these powers helps us to transcend the mind itself to mindfulness or meditation. So to move the mind on the entire body, be there, feel the presence, and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Now your mind has an imprint of deep silent, slow breathing. You know, we should not be doing very deep, but as you start breathing little deeper, mind moves with the breath inside the right arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips, or from the fingertips to the shoulder. Whatever the way you want to do. And when the breath comes out, the mind moves with the breath inside into the space inside the right arm. So there are 3 points. You can say 4 points. Right arm, physical. The space inside the right arm, the mind visualizes and perceives. That is your highway. And the little deep silent slow breath, it is your car. And who is driving the car? The mind. Where it is driving? On the space inside the right arm. So what is going to happen? The mind will get a glimpse and it will start bypassing the body. It is the strongest unconscious part in the mind that I am the body. And as long as the mind unconsciously, habitually, animally keeps that impression that I am the body, we do not reach to the highest state of mindfulness. I can tell you. Now move the mind inside the left arm in the same way. The moment the breath goes in or comes out, the mind moves on the breath, drives the breath deep inside the left arm in the space, blankness or emptiness that you feel. You cannot directly hit the mind, oh, become empty. It will never happen. We have to use the different tools and the devices. These tools and the devices are now on the right leg, Nyasa. I named it, labeled it as Nyasa. Nyasa is a very deep and secretive step practice in Tantra. We'll use that. We'll understand that later. Continue in the right leg, the Nyasa. And inside the left leg, and now inside the spine from the top of the head to the tailbone, and from the tailbone to the top of the head. Great Master Vivekananda says, we all have to live with the lower and the higher nature. But as long as the mind lives in the lower nature, is being pulled by the animal mind, and that causes the suffering. So first we have to understand what is our higher nature. Then we have to purify the mind from the lower nature. Then we evolve the mind into the higher nature to live into the higher state all the time. And in that state, drop this deep breath. We will jump into the last stage. I'm skipping the stage number 5 today. So what is the last stage? The three-pointed awareness of the breath is the mindfulness. What is that three? I know. It means you know the breath is going in and out. What it means, you are aware. The first point of awareness. You know the breath is going in, coming out. You feel the sensation of the breath dropping into when it touches the nose inside. Every breath going in and coming out, you have a sensation. Why we do that? To maintain our awareness, not to fall into unconscious activities of the mind. You will miss the practice. And the third point, you do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Why? We are not asking the mind to do any action. Why? The mind withdraws deeper within. It leaves that temperament of doing an action. Actionless state leads us to mindfulness. You are aware of the breath. Continue. You're in a state of doing nothing. Now you are doing nothing. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are not in a hurry to return. Bring your mind to the right hand. You will experience a change when you started the practice and now. Move the mind on the left hand. Feel the change. To prevent time of coronavirus. So you may need not to put your hands on your eyes if it is not clean completely. Otherwise, Bring your both the palms, place it on your closed eyes, open the eyes inside. For a few moments, experience the change. And now bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. Why we share? For you. If one shares the experiences, everybody listens. So that gives you a clue. Oh, this is the way. So let us, Jerry, how is your experience?
Thank you. It was a good, relaxing experience. I felt that I was a little bit outside of the body today.
Good.
A lot of times when we breathe into the limbs and things, it's kind of like tunnel vision in those limbs.
As if you are not the body.
But today I was outside the body.
Yeah. So you have an awareness as if you are not the body.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good experience. How are you, Sergey? Unmute. Yeah.
I feel like most of the time I was aware and stable, but sometimes, like in the middle, my body is like, I would like to shake. I have some thoughts. I should go to my work because that's the middle of like my working day, and I should be working. Like, no, not now.
I spoke about that during the practice.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to talk. Exactly that one. Then okay, not now, and keep stable. Then again, it's like a fire. Like you should keep going and working. Like no, not now, not now, not now, not now.
Yes, you see that is how we give a direction to the mind. You may succeed. You have succeeded today, but you may not succeed tomorrow. But we have to continue the practice until the mind gains that skill, that awareness, and throws all these thought patterns during the practice of meditation. Wonderful. How are you, David?
It was a different meditation for me today when we did the exercise of breathing in through or breathing through the limbs. I just got this vibration in my body that was very
intense.
Surreal everywhere. It was intense.
Yes, that's really good. You might be enjoying that.
Yeah, I am enjoying that. I like that part of it.
Like, you see that is why our master explains there is a 5 layers of our body, the 5 sheets. Lara, so when the mind is totally absorbed into the energy sheet, we have that experience. So almost it has left the body, it moved deeper. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, thank you, Girish. Similar to my experience in our last meditation, an intense amount of, I felt energy around me as if I was in a cylinder of light.
Good.
My meditation was very bright, and I think I described in my last meditation that I felt it getting brighter and darker as I was breathing. In today's meditation, I was aware of the fact that I was bright when I was focused, and as my mind starts to wander away is when it would get dark. So that was my signal that I needed to pull it right back. And every time I did that, it just kept getting brighter and brighter. In fact, at the end of the meditation, my body is actually cold and my hands are sweating.
Yes. So the mind went deeper into the 4th layer. But you see, that is why it is very important to have the right knowledge. That is why I give a talk based on the principles, so that knowledge tickles you when the mind is moving away from you. The mind is causing some hesitation. That is what the Sergey did. Not now, not now. And that is what you did. Oh, darkness. So let me go deeper. Let me hold on. So it is first the knowledge part that helps our mind to hold on. If there is no knowledge, how the mind can hold on? Then we say mindfulness, focus on the breath, and do no. That will not work. But no doubt, that gives you relaxation. No doubt. But we are too far from the meditation. It's a wonderful experience. Continue the journey. How are you, Lara?
It was interesting today. This week I've been working on clearing out some, cleaning up some stuff just to clear out so I can move forward anyway. So it was powerful for me to do the breathing practice twice. And then I felt a lot of like jolting and a lot of energy kind of move through my body today. So that was really interesting.
It's a wonderful. So sometime we need to do intensive. One student of mine from the LA, he does 9 minutes of short and quick breath. With 1 minute pause, and then he does 9 minutes of belly breathing, the long and the hissing breath. 1 minute break, and then he does 9 minutes of both. So 27 minutes. So his meditation lasts for 90 minutes. So sometime we need that. So we will pick up. How are you, Anne?
Yes, I'm fine. Yeah, I feel very good with fast breathing over the chest.
Yeah.
I think
that clears the mind. That clears the mind. Yes.
I try to keep away my negative thoughts, which I succeeded. But
tell your mind, enough is enough. No more negative thoughts.
Right.
Wonderful.
That's right.
I always said wonderful. That is wonderful. We'll meet again. We'll continue our journey. I'll be sending you the audio file in a few minutes. Thank you. You all are becoming a seeker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Asher.